Got it.
I'm filling in for Ben.
Yeah, I mean, you kind of look like Ben.
Your jeans stink, Hoon.
Man, I don't want you on here anymore. Hey, what's up, everyone, and welcome to episode 10 of the Ben and Hoon Show. This is your co-host, Hoon Choi, and to my right is not Ben M. So, unfortunately, we've gotten several complaints about Ben and how he teases my grammar and complains about the smell of my jeans. So, due to these numerous complaints from anonymous callers and my parents, we've decided to go ahead and part ways. Actually, I'm just kidding about that. He's actually on vacation and work at Puerto Rico. So we went ahead and replaced him with Chad Rollins here and D-Real, Daryl from Minority League and Fresh Off the Pod. So say hello, everyone. Go ahead, Daryl.
Hello, what's up?
Chad.
Hello, everybody. I'm happy to be here tonight.
Fantastic. So we have Ben in spirit here, though. So for the people who are seeing us on YouTube, you're going to get to see Ben's ugly mug right behind us for some parts of the show. So he's with us in spirit. So how's your week been, guys? Chad, how's your week been?
Pretty good. Just got back in town from New York.
From New York?
From New York, yeah. I was there for a National Geographic photography convention.
Uh-huh.
So
nice.
I was actually in a food photography class.
Wow. Okay.
Whenever you text me, so.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah.
Okay. So how about you, Daryl?
I've been okay. Actually, with all the rain this last week, I know this kind of sounds weird, but I get like a craving for ice cream every time it rains. So I've been gaining so much weight this last week or so.
No, I haven't noticed, Daryl. You actually look quite fit today, so.
Very svelte.
See, I can't tell if you're being sarcastic or. So I've been doing a lot of running too.
Really? So I mean, what's your favorite kind of ice cream?
Gosh, I love everything. But I was in Russia maybe a little over 10 years ago, and I tried the ice cream there, and there's not another ice cream that can match.
Really?
Russian
Interestingly enough, Chad will be going to Russia in a month,
Next
right?
month, yes.
It's called morozhomai.
I'll have to ask.
Now-
It's Russian for ice cream.
Really?
I've never forgotten that word ever since I tried it.
How is it like? I mean, what's the closest comparison to like American ice cream?
Just think of like the creamiest ice cream that you can think of.
So almost like a custard, or like a frozen custard?
I would say maybe like texture-wise, maybe not. I guess I really can't really describe it. I mean, it's really milky, if that makes sense.
You know,
Creamy, milky.
my fiance, you know, I've been with her for 5 years. You've met her before
Yes.
at a
Uh-huh.
wedding. She's had never even brought up the ice cream.
Wow.
So that makes me kind of wonder what she's hiding
Your
from
fiance
me.
is from Russia?
She's from Novosibirsk.
Oh, you got to ask her about the cats that can ride bikes.
What in the world?
I'm serious. Russians are famous for their circuses with cats, and they're able to train cats to like walk on tight ropes. They can ride bikes. They do all sorts of crazy. This is the first thing I saw when I went to Russia.
I
As soon
can't
as we
even
got off
get
the
my
plane.
dog to pee outside, and Russia has cats that can ride bikes.
Ride bikes, walk tight ropes. They do all sorts of crazy
That
stuff.
is insane.
She's actually expecting a cat for her Mother's Day present. So hopefully,
Really?
hopefully, if she gets it in time, you know, it'll be trained by Christmas.
Oh, nice. Okay, a cat. You know, like what kind of cat are you thinking about getting her?
She wants to get a Burmese.
A Burmese?
Yeah.
Wait a second. Those aren't those skinless, those furless cats, are they?
It's like an Abyssian or something like that. It's
Okay.
just this little brown, furry, little adorable looking thing.
Okay, nice. Well, for everyone out there, Chad here is an old coworker of Ben and I's at T-Mobile, but now he's a kind of a world traveler and like a food blogger. So we'll be discussing a little bit more about his travels here on our next segment. But we brought him on just to kind of freshen up the environment, a little prettier face than Ben, you know. So nice little upgrade here. But you know, this week I actually saw the. Have y'all seen the Avengers?
I saw it release night.
Really? How was the crowd?
They were energetic. I mean, don't want to like ruin anything.
No,
for
I
anything,
saw it. I
but-
saw it as well. So.
But I was like, really? You know, what?
Okay.
Sorry that we had to lose that person.
Oh, got it.
Oh, wait, what is going on?
Daryl, you haven't seen it yet.
No,
then.
I haven't.
What? How can you not have seen it, man? This is, I mean, what the big blockbuster this last week,
I
right?
mean, if I recall correctly, it's been pretty much sold out up until.
I mean, I bought it.
I
bought
only
a ticket
had
that
like
afternoon.
we only had like maybe 10 people in our theater, but I saw it on Friday during the day, so not having a job kind of helps.
And coincidentally, Hoon and I missed each other by about
Yeah, he
10
was at,
minutes at
yeah,
the
he
same
saw the
theater.
showing right after me by chance at the same theater. It was really odd, but not to give any spoilers though for Daryl. I mean, what did you think?
Somebody dies.
There's a possibility, but what did you think about the actual movie itself then, Chad?
You know, I was a big fan of the first one. I think following Captain America, following Guardians of the Galaxy, it was somewhat of a disappointment to me. I didn't
So you
think-
like
I didn't-
Guardians of the Galaxy more?
Yeah, definitely. I just think it didn't have
agree.
the same energy, and I think that there was just a little build up and a whole lot of fighting, and just not enough of just like really a story of more of, you know, where they got to where they were at. You know.
I agree. I think it was just very much a repeat of Avengers, the first one. I mean, there was
It
a
was.
lot. I mean, I thought my favorite parts were when they just like the action scenes when they team up, right?
Yeah.
I mean, like Thor and Captain America, them teaming up and everything like that. So those were my favorite parts. But Ultron was a lot more. Not kind of like they really like during the trailers. Ultron looked really menacing. Just the whole character was really awesome. You know, I like the idea of a really big villain, right? But he was kind of underwhelming throughout the movie, in my opinion. So that was just my take on it. But you know, it wasn't bad. I'm more interested in how they're going to take the next sequels, right? The Civil War. For the non-comic book fans out there, it's not really a spoiler because it's pretty much known of what Civil War does. It's essentially it pits Iron Man against Captain America. They go into two different factions where one kind of works with the government to get like a mutant registration act type of deal, where people have to reveal who they are, like Spider-Man and those other type of heroes. And Captain America is on the other side where he has his own team where they think they shouldn't have to register themselves. So it's interesting because you've grown to like really like them as a team, right? Like Iron Man and just the way they flow. But then now in next movie, you're going to see them fight against each other. And so it's going to be interesting how the fans take that. I've grown to really like their teamwork.
Yeah.
So it's going to be hard to watch them really like be the central enemies against each other.
Well, I mean, if you follow Robert Downey Jr. on social media, you see that he's been poking at it with memes after memes after memes, of just this tension between Captain America and Iron Man, and so I mean, it's building up to something big. Funny enough, I was, I work on dual monitors at home whenever I'm editing video and kind of surfing the web, and I saw that I glanced over real quick, and it was announcing some of the cast for Civil War. I saw with my eyes Morgan Freeman is joining the cast. I clicked on it, and it was Martin Freeman.
Yes, Martin Freeman from Sherlock and from The Hobbit.
The Hobbit, yes. And so I'm looking at The Office. From the British version of The Office. So I mean that's a big thing for me. But I was like, oh wait, where are they going to go with that? Who could he possibly fall with?
Yeah, I'm still skeptical as how it's going to turn out. Looking forward to it. I love the whole idea of that all these comic books are being turned into movies these days. Back in the day, what did we have? I mean, I remember The Punisher was one of the only ones that from Marvel that was pretty big.
Well, yeah, I mean, and they weren't even big. I mean, back in the day, a comic book movie, a video game movie, it was the kiss of death.
It was.
What
was the? I mean, I was trying to remember back like in the '90s. What were they? It was like The Punisher,
Street Fighter, with
Superman
Jean-Claude
was
Van
from
Damme.
DC. Oh, Street Fighter. That was a horrible rendition. I used to love the game too, and watching Street Fighter. I mean, back then it wasn't as bad as it is. Now you watch it, so like. You're like cringing, right? When you're watching, you're like, oh my gosh, so bad. But like, I mean, back then, not as bad, I guess, but yeah, not very good. And like Super Mario Brothers.
Yeah, I mean, you could even go back to, 2001 with Ang Lee's Hulk.
Yeah.
it didn't hold up.
That's true. That's a good point.
It was horrible. Hulk
It might
2
have
was a
been.
little
It might have
better.
been a little bit more. I think Ang Lee went with a different approach in terms of that movie, where he kind of went more. I mean, I like the comic book style that he did, but it was more like he was trying to be a little bit too. I don't know, philosophical, I guess.
Too Ang Lee-ish.
Yeah, too Ang Lee-ish, I guess. He tried to make it too much like Crouching Tiger, I guess.
I think there's a little too much of that. I guess trying to give a background of the character, the character development.
Yeah.
And the whole movie surrounded, Bruce Banner's childhood in the movie. There were so many flashbacks. I actually enjoyed the movie.
I know.
I actually enjoyed both of them.
And I actually
the
liked
one
them.
and the.
And I like both of them better
one.
than Mark Ruffalo. Actually, I like Eric Bana's one of my favorite actors, especially from Black Hawk Down, and I'm seeing all those characters he plays. And then Jennifer Connelly, you can't go wrong with Jennifer Connelly ever. Seriously, from like the movie The Rocketeer. I mean, I fell in love with Jennifer Connelly a long, long time ago. So I mean, that movie actually was not bad in terms of being a comic book movie as well. So I enjoyed it too.
Do you guys remember the spoiler in which they announced that he was going to be involved in Hulk?
Nuh-uh.
It was when BMW did those cinematic commercials.
Oh, okay, yeah, I remember
and
this.
And then the little kid that was supposedly the next Buddha, he cut his finger and he put a Hulk Band-Aid on, and then that's when everybody started saying, Ang Lee's doing Hulk.
Really?
Yeah, and so I've rewatched those commercials recently, and I was like, oh yeah, that's how that happened.
Okay. Oh, I had no idea about that. Okay, very cool. Well, I think it's coming time for our first break, and so we're going to break, and then we'll go and talk about Chad's travels here on the next segment.
Over 4 months ago, Dallas Korean Network began something that had never been done before, believing in giving the second-generation Asian Americans a platform to voice their thoughts and opinions, while also creating their own entertainment. Next Gen Connections was birthed, and its first show, Fresh Off the Pod, aired in late October 2014. Beginning the first week of March, Next Gen Connections will begin airing 4 shows targeting Asian Americans. Fresh Off the Pod, The Minority League, K-Pop Hour, and Next Gen Talk looks to bring a variety of topics to the Asian American community in the DFW area. DKNet and Next Gen Connections ask for your support as we strive to do something that has never been done before. For more information on shows and Next Gen Connections, go to www.nextgenconnections.org. Thank you for your support.
All right, guys, and welcome back here. So I teased this in the very beginning. Chad here is a world traveler, and he's just gone back. How long were you out of the country for, Chad?
For 27 days.
27 days, going to, I don't know, how many countries?
If you count Dubai, which I was there for 12 hours, we'll say 5. We'll say 5 countries.
5 countries, sampling different food, and I gotta tell you, so I'm trying to like lose a little bit of weight. I'm on a kind of a diet, and Chad's blog and Facebook pictures, Instagram pictures are like a dieter's worst nightmare, because the food, pictures of the food that he takes is insanely, it looks insanely delicious. It makes me hungry every single time. I've tried to ignore him, but it's very difficult to. So, Chad, so what was your favorite country that you went to?
If you would have asked me this same question a month ago, I would have hands down said Cambodia.
Cambodia.
Yes, I mean Cambodia. I went there in 2005 for the first time, and it was the most genuine country. It was one that hadn't been spoiled by, this
You mean genuine as in the people, or just the culture?
Just the culture was still intact. It was like it hadn't been ruined by just catering to tourism and stuff like that.
Okay.
And now going back 10 years later, all the roads are paved. All the now it's like
very more westernized.
It's like everything is divided. You have small Cambodian businesses, but the majority of the restaurants are owned by Koreans or Chinese.
Really?
So you don't have it's lost some of its authenticity. But I mean, to me, I think the one that I keep on returning to time and time again is Thailand. I think I've been there 10 times at this point. And it's not going back to see the same thing. It's going back and I'm finding something new every single time. finding a different type of cuisine that I was unable to find or hunt down the first time. And it's something that's a country that always has something new for me.
Like I went to I was able to go to Thailand because flights from Korea to Thailand were relatively cheap back when I was in Korea. So I was able to vacation in Thailand for a week. And man, I'm going to tell you that country really is beautiful though.
Yeah.
But the humidity,
it's killer.
I mean, if you've never been to like a tropical island, it is, as soon as you step out, you are just drenched in sweat. Your clothes are sticking to you. It's a beautiful sight, but the humidity is just insane. Now, the food, I mean, I know you are quite the foodie and you do a food blog. The food in Thailand, I mean, the food stands there, it was just amazing, seriously. Like, I mean, I was in love. I annoyed everyone I was with on that vacation because I really love mango sticky rice.
Yes.
And every restaurant we went to, I had to make sure that they had mango sticky rice. And all my friends were so annoyed with me because I kept on going. My first question was, do you have mango sticky rice? And if they didn't have it, I go, we had to find someplace else. Because if someone never had mango sticky rice, it is, you get a fresh mango with like, that's just just sliced on the plate for you, and you have a little bit of rice that's mixed with, I think, coconut milk, and that's about it, right? And
well, it's
sugar.
you have the sticky rice, which does have a little coconut flavor, and then they usually put a coconut cream on top of it, and then sprinkle some sesame seeds on it, and then
oh my god, and
it's a done deal.
And it's typically a dessert in Thailand.
Typically, but it also becomes a meal every time my kids come across a mango sticky rice.
So every time I went there, I had to order a mango sticky rice as my appetizer, and then I order a different meal in itself. So definitely one of my favorite countries in terms of like street food. Because in Korea had great street food when I was there, but that street food there with the fresh seafood where they're grilling the fish right there, and they're fantastic. And the beer there was great too. Tiger and
Chang.
Singha,
Well,
right?
Tiger is, I think, Vietnamese.
Okay.
But they have Chang, beer Chang. They have Singha, and beer's cheaper than water there.
It is. It's crazy. I absolutely loved it. And the fruit there is so fresh.
Yes.
I mean, the stands will they'll have beer stands. It'll be either a beer stand or a seafood stand or like a fresh fruit stand, or it's a place you can get a massage.
Yeah, definitely.
I've never seen so many places to get a massage before in my entire life. It is like it's every third store or stall is
it just
a massage.
repeats itself.
Yeah, and and they're like insanely cheap. It's like between $5 and $15.
Yeah,
and it's like
for like 2 hours.
Yeah, and you can get it done on the beach right there.
Yeah.
It is like, I mean, it's talk about luxurious. It's awesome.
I mean, speaking about the massage, I had, just got off, like the Emirates ridiculous. It's like 15 hours to Dubai and then another 8 hours or 7 hours to Bangkok. And I was, my calves were killing me. And I'm on the beach and this lady's like, do you want a massage? And I'm like, no, I'm good. I can handle it. Because she was like this tall, and then she's like, "No, I give real strong massage." It was the most painful thing I'd ever experienced, but I was back in business and ready to start hitting the markets.
Yeah, before Thailand, I think I had one massage my entire life. In Thailand, I had like 5 massages in one day. It's that ridiculous, and it's so abundant. Like after you walk to your restaurant, like just get a massage right next door to it, or have those where you put your feet into the tank and the fish eat
whatever you got going on.
whatever you got going on in your between your toes. It's those are like next door to each other everywhere. Have you ever got a chance to go, Daryl?
No, man, but it sounds amazing. I really want to check it out. Actually, Thai food's probably one of my favorite types of food, and the same way that you are with the mango sticky rice is kind of the same way that I am with pad thai.
Yeah.
So I'll try to check out all the different Thai restaurants in the area, but every time I go to a new place, I always order the pad thai. I never get a chance to try anything else.
The dish that I have to have, and it's like the most stereotypical dish, is green curry.
Green curry is fantastic. That's my favorite one.
It's like it's on every single menu, and it reminds me of the Desperado sequel where Johnny Depp was looking for the best carnitas in Mexico, whereas I'm looking for the best green curry, and it's this one little spot. right outside of Kosan Road, which is kind of like the backpacker district, and it's called Radi Mataba.
Radi Mataba.
And coincidentally, it was the first restaurant that I ever ate at in Thailand on my first trip back.
Is this near Bangkok?
This is in Bangkok.
Oh, it's in Bangkok. Okay.
It's right right outside of Kosan Road, which is kind of like the opening sequence of the beach was supposed to be Kosan Road.
Okay, got it.
But they make a roti that you get like a little dipping sauce of green curry. I ordered it the first time, didn't know what I was getting into. I drank like 3 Pepsis back to back, trying to get my tongue back in order. But I've kind of been able to refine my Thai taste buds since
Thai spicy is different from other spicy.
It is.
So people who've been at Thai restaurant, they always go 1 to 5. They go rate 1 to 5, and it's definitely when I thought I'm used to spicy food. I really like my food spicy because Korean food is typically pretty spicy as well, but Thai 5 is like I don't sweat very much, but like I'm getting napkins and I'm like they're like sticking to my forehead because I'm sweating so much, and it's kind of spicy. And one in Thailand especially, if you want to get a 5, you're kind of in trouble. You gotta be really used to it.
You're in bad shape.
A 5
you're
to
in real
us
bad
is
shape.
definitely different from a 5 to
It is. It definitely is.
Crazy thing is the last time I went to a Thai restaurant and it was too spicy for me, they gave me a cup of vinegar.
Yeah, vinegar will neutralize heat.
Somehow the vinegar neutralized it, and like immediately all the extra heat went away.
So you just put the vinegar inside whatever you just mix it with the pad thai.
Yeah,
whenever
you get your condiments for one of my favorite foods right now is what they call boat noodles. Okay, and that's one of the condiments. So like if you go a little crazy on the chili, you got the vinegar right there next to the fish sauce, so you're able to dump a little bit of that in there to get it back to an edible point.
Interesting. I never knew that. I might try that next time because I do tend to overestimate my ability to take spicy food, and just because like my girlfriend typically really really likes spicy food, and she always gets a 5 or plus that, and so I feel kind of like not as much of a man. So I get a 5 as well, and I tried to hide it, but maybe putting a little bit of vinegar in there will kind of help.
Just make sure it's not something that has coconut milk in it, because otherwise you're in trouble.
Why is that?
It'll kind of like it'll make your stomach kind of go crazy.
Got it. Okay, I'll remember that. So back to food, because I know that was one of the main points of your trip, going to all those countries. I know you went to Vietnam as well, right?
Yes.
So, no, everyone who doesn't love pho, right? I mean, when did the pho explosion take place in America? Because I remember in college, everyone, like, no one heard of pho before that, and all of a sudden, like, it was like the thing to eat.
I'd go back to 99.
99? I think you're about right. It was around 99 when everyone just, like pho restaurants started opening up everywhere, right? Everyone started liking pho. Everyone was talking about pho or pho, whatever what people would say, right? But it's a great food. I mean, the way you eat it, I mean, it's customizable with fresh bean sprouts, everything like that. You make your own soup pretty much with the. I think sriracha is so big now. It's in every single restaurant. You can go to Pizza Hut and get a sriracha paste
glaze for your
sriracha
pizza.
Glaze. How insane is that? And without pho, I don't think sriracha would be where it is right now, would it?
There's no way.
Yeah. So kind of deviating off subject there, but so talking about that in Vietnam, how was the food there? How was the pho? I saw on your Facebook that you went to the best pho restaurant in Vietnam, right? So it must have been pretty good.
I was in Vietnam for 4 days, which was kind of like a long time for me. 3 days of that was spent pretending like I was Odessu from Old Boy, locked in my windowless hotel room, with food poisoning.
Oh goodness!
Yes,
really? What did you eat to?
I narrowed it down to 2 things. It was either the bun tit that I had for breakfast, which is it's vermicelli noodles with grilled pork.
Okay, I know what that is.
With some veggies in there, and I was in a market, the biggest market in Saigon, and they're just flagging you down, trying to get you to come over to to their booth, and I just picked one at random, and then I was feeling fine, and then after that, I went to this one lady called the Lunch Lady. The Lunch Lady is somebody that Anthony Bourdain automatically shot to fame by doing a whole episode there at her stall.
Oh, wow.
She does one dish a day. One day she does pho. Everything else is kind of like a variation of pho. And I'm bad with my Vietnamese dishes, but I had basically it was something with a tapioca noodle. With had the blood cubes and the shrimp and all that good stuff in there.
Cubes. Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
And then
Yeah.
it's just like by the time they get my plate, I mean my table, it's me and there's two Korean guys that speak English sitting right next to me, and we're talking back and forth about it, and they pile up your table with just. All these little donuts and different, spring rolls, and little fried spring rolls and all this stuff. And it's like a huge amount of food. It was like $3, okay?
Oh my God, $3.
Yeah, and then, you got this lady just over there smiling. She's famous,
Yeah.
She's been on TV, with this. And the place is so busy. So I don't want to blame her for the food poisoning. But by the time I came around last day,
Oh, man, that sucks to get food poisoning on your food trip.
yes,
Okay.
it's not the first time, but
Okay.
it's happened. I did some research, and there's a place with one of the most generic pho names you could imagine. It's Pho 2000, and it was funny.
Like in Vietnam, you would think that you would see that in maybe like Carrollton or like here in Dallas,
That's
but
that's
in
some place
Vietnam-
like off of like Arlington and on Collins Street and in 303. But no, Pho 2000. I mean, it's the place everybody was raving about. There was like 5, and it seemed like everybody was talking about Pho 2000. I went in there and I just ordered the straight beef pho, and
the pho Thai. Is that what that is?
pho. I thought it was pho bai.
Oh, it
or
might
something
be. I'm
like
not
that.
sure. That's just
Like
what
I
I
said,
order when
my
I go.
Vietnamese is horrible. I point at the menu.
How dare your Vietnamese be horrible?
Picture menus when I go to most of these places. But I had it and it was excellent. It was the best pho. It was the most complex broth you could imagine.
I mean, what makes a good bowl of pho? I mean, here, I'll be frank with you, they all kind of taste similar to me, no matter where I go to, because I put so much sriracha and like the hoisin sauce that it kind of tends to taste all very similar.
Whenever you have authentic, pho from Vietnam, it's one ingredient that they don't use here that makes the difference, and it's sawtooth cilantro as opposed to regular cilantro.
Sawtooth
cilantro. It's a leaf about this long, real thin. Looks like a little saw blade. You can get it at like Hep Thai Market occasionally. It's very hard for me to find, and I use it in a lot of curries and everything that I make if I can find it.
Sawtooth
Cilantro.
Got it.
Yes. So that's the big thing there. But the one thing that's just really frustrating, whenever I go to these places and I try these dishes, the first thing I do is I memorize everything that's going on. I go home, I try to immediately copy it. For this big grand plan that I have down the way that I don't want to talk about.
Okay.
And the most simplest thing was just this Vietnamese lime soda that they make. They basically put a can, and I posted it on both Foodie Wonders and my regular Twitter. But it's just a can of club soda, a thing of sugar and limes, and it makes them this most unreal soda.
Really? I bet you can get that at Sonic's. Because you just ask them for a limeade.
No, I can't.
Nothing
I can't
it.
fake it for anything. And I found out that in their little bowl of sugar, it's half salt. And so hopefully I'll try it again.
So it's club soda, sugar, salt, and lime.
Just squeezable limes, just little bitty baby limes.
Have you seen this at any Vietnamese restaurants here?
No.
That sounds very familiar.
Well, see, you know what? I was at Pok Pok in New York. Have you ever heard of Pok Pok?
No, I have not.
Andy Richter is he's a James Beard chef.
Okay.
He is the go-to Thai guy for the United States. And I was there the other night, and they advertised the Thai lime soda, and I immediately called out the waitress. I was like, "No, this is actually a Vietnamese lime soda,"
Okay.
and they did pretty good.
Okay. All right. Sounds good. Hey, so we're going to take a quick break, and then we'll kind of catch up more with Chad's travels here in a little bit. So.
Like this. 그토록 헬만 같은 너의 그 미소 까만 먹구름에 쌓인 내게 내게로 살며시 내게 다가온 그대와의 노래로 우린 하나라는 느낌을 느끼고 사랑은 언제나 내 맘속에 그저 타지 말대로 너와 시간의 속에서 포근해지는 것 Every day to the J and I keep it high
Get with that 소중한 넌 나의 ticket 힘들던 나의 삶의 고통을 잊게 세상에서 무엇보다도 내가 너를 좋아하게 된 이유 너무나 긴 방황의 길 그곳으로 내게 손을 내밀 너의 손길 그대 왜 내게 이렇게 늦게 다가와 나 사랑해 you're my love
I know your eyes in the morning sun I feel you touch me in the pouring rain And the moment that you wander far from me I wanna feel you in my arms again How deep is your love? 너만을 간직한 내 가슴만큼 커다란 슬픔 영원한 것이 될까 너의 마음 변하진 않았을까 얼마나 많은 사랑이 남아있나 불안한 지금 이 모든 게 쓸데없는 고민들 이제 믿음만이 내 모든 아픔을 다 지워줘 나 언제나 그건 반드시 절대로 편치 않듯이 널 지켜줄게
너의 두 눈 속에서 살아갈게 언제나 같이 할게 너와 하나 만나 내 인생에서 사는 이유 하나 빛이 된 나를 밝혀줘 더 부셔줘 너를 위해서 혹시 다른 곳 다시 태어난데도 오직 내게 너 하나
And you come to me on a summer breeze keep me warm in your love then you softly leave and it's me you need to show how deep is your love how deep is your love I really need to learn 'cause we're living in a world of fools breaking us down when they all should let us be. We belong to you and me. La 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 la.
You're the key to my heart, yo, and we can never be apart. Ride deep and dive, take you to your places and by your side. Two hearts falling deep inside. From the start, let me make you glide, 'cause you got me open wide.
And you may not think I care for you, and you know down inside that I really do. And it's me you need to show. How deep is your love? Cause we're living in a world of fools, breaking us down when they all should let us be. We belong to you and me. I believe in you.
Hey, welcome back. Hope you guys enjoyed that oldie from Jinushan. That was one of Chad's favorite groups, K-pop groups back in the day. But no, I'm just joking. Have you ever heard that song before, Chad?
I heard the original.
Oh, okay. That's right. It was a who was
The Bee Gees.
Yeah, that's
Bee
right.
Gees.
That's right. I forgot that was a rendition of that. But yeah, it was one of our my favorite songs back in college. I think it was '98. We talked about that before, Daryl. Like back in '98 or '99 or something like that, around that time. But they actually came out with a new song as well that Jeannie shared on her Facebook, which actually wasn't bad. I thought it was a good, nice throwback to the old school K-pop on that one. But back to Chad here. So we were talking about your travels and your food blog. So knowing that, I mean, what's the craziest dish you think you've eaten in your travels so far?
Craziest or worse?
How about both? What's both? So which one's your craziest and which one's your the worst?
Well, I mean, craziest was definitely going to a little town right outside of Hanoi called Lamat, Thailand. I mean, Lamat, Vietnam, and they're known for one dish.
Okay.
And it's live cobra.
Live cobra. Oh
Yes,
my
and
god. Okay.
There's pictures of the whole ceremony on my Facebook. If you dig deep enough.
So it's a ceremony. I mean, what do you mean by ceremony?
I mean, it's where they basically you walk in the restaurant and you know they know that you're there for the live cobra. Okay, they bring out a burlap bag and they dump a couple cobras on the floor, real cobras.
They dump them on the floor while you're there. You're sitting there.
Yeah. How else? I mean, if they keep them in the burlap bag, how are you going to pick out which one you want to eat?
Oh my gosh. Okay.
And it's one of those situations where they do like this entire ceremony where you use every single bit of the cobra. There's not one piece of waste that goes.
Oh no!
It ends up it ends up being about 8 dishes.
8 dishes for cobra.
For cobra, yes. So I mean, it goes. They start off with, whoever's the oldest person at the table, which was between me and another one of your ex-employees. I was the oldest guy, so I was the guy that got to enjoy the beating heart of the cobra. Put in a shot glass and then did that.
The beating heart. So so back to the beginning. So you pick out the cobra.
Yeah, you
You're
pick out the
I
cobra.
want this cobra. That
Yes.
looks like
I want that big mean one that's staring at me right there.
Okay, you want that cobra commander over there, and then you pick him out, and they just chop the head off, or like.
Well, no, they bring the live. They're like, okay, they take it, they sit you down, and like in these type of situations, I always have a fixer with me. I always have somebody that's a local, that's translating, that's making sure that
that might help in this situation.
I'm getting the right place that serves this cobra dish, because I mean, it's a cobra.
Yeah.
They come over there, they do the heart. You take it with a shot of rice wine. Then they do the bile.
The bile.
The bile. So you got this green
bile.
liquid. Yes, green. And, just like every other crazy Asian food, it's for a reason, And I'm like, well, that's cool. I mean, I'll drink the bile, mix it with enough rice wine, and I'll do just about anything. But anyway, then they go from there to eating just like the bones, which end up being like these little crispy little, kind of like those little matchstick potatoes, and they were pretty good. Spring rolls, just like regular barbecued meat of it. It was the whole thing.
So how was it?
It tasted like fish.
Tasted like fish.
Yes, not like chicken.
Have you ever had
coincidentally.
any other type of? I know, like in Texas, they eat rattlesnake.
Yeah,
Have you ever had that?
I have,
Kind of similar.
and it's totally different. It's totally different. It's because rattlesnake does kind of. It's similar to more of a harder texture.
Yeah.
To chicken, but whereas cobra is, and these are like what they call a common tree cobra. So it's not like some, king cobra, something massive or anything like that. So they just go out in the tree, grab a bag of cobras, and that's their
Still very
little
poisonous, though.
Yes, of course. Yeah, I mean that's their little sustainable, food source that they have there in this town. And it like I said, it was like a fish dish. It was like a little tiny.
So
fish
that was
dish.
So I mean, how much was that entire thing? Is it crazy expensive or?
It was like $10.
Oh my god!
Which
That's
would have been-
insane. I mean, just the idea of all the food in Southeast Asia. I remember when I visited, was insanely cheap. The cost of living and everything
Yeah.
that everything was just so cheap over there.
Yeah, I mean, I've been to Michelin star restaurants in Thailand that were, similar to what you would pay to go to like Three Forks, or something like that. Something, and then I've been to places that were the. I mean, like to me, a restaurant called Soy, which is totally off the beaten track in Bangkok, where no tourists can get to it. I mean, it's my favorite restaurant in the world.
So what's it called again?
Soy.
Soy.
So it's a little bit different than the way that you say the street, But you say street in Thai, but it's called Soy. It's an untrained chef that used to be a rugby player, and he has a staff, but he doesn't trust any of them, and he has to have his say-so in every single dish that leaves the kitchen.
Wow. Okay.
And I had just had the most ridiculous breakfast, but then I made it to Soy before they opened so I could have their fried mackerel heads, which is
Ooh,
like
that sounds good.
their signature dish. And you got to get there early, or otherwise they're sold out. And I ordered like 5 things on the menu, and I didn't have a fixer with me that day, so it's like I'm eating all 5 dishes by myself. And so, but the like it's funny because there's this guy that's so particular about how the dishes come out of his kitchen. He comes over and he sees me, a guy that's been waiting 30 minutes for the open, sitting there like overthinking every single bite, and he's like wondering, is it not good,
Yeah.
And it was so funny because I had pictures on my phone of what I wanted to order because this is so far off the tourist track that there's no English in the menu. There's nothing. So it was just mostly pointing at my phone and
That
all
usually
that
works
stuff.
pretty well.
It does. A lot of the best restaurants are the ones that the locals go to.
Yeah,
So-
probably. Nice.
But back to what your original question was. The worst dish.
Yep.
There's been several.
Okay, so what
The one that
stands out in your
sticks
head?
out in my mind was I went to a restaurant called Raya. Raya is it is a very high-end, fancy restaurant in Phuket, Thailand.
Oh, that's
and-
where I will actually end up being at. Okay.
And it is a place where the king of Thailand's son actually gets on the private jet and flies to eat. And
my gosh.
it's a fancy place, but it's not really that expensive. And I kept on hearing about these things called stink beans.
Stink beans. Okay.
And by the name you would think, come on, it's got to be bad, right? But
Yeah.
but you never know. So I ordered stink beans with prawns, and it was the most disgusting thing.
My experience has shown that anytime a food has stink, like have you like the Chinese stinky tofu?
Yeah.
I mean, when how you can smell it whenever you go to a Chinese restaurant, and you can tell when they serve that, because if one person gets stinky tofu, the whole restaurant smells like stinky tofu. It's an acquired taste. If who's ever not had it before, it is. Think about just like rotten tofu it's a delicacy there, and every country has it.
Yeah.
But like that's whenever it has stinky in there, I would be very cognizant of how it's going to taste and how it's going to probably smell.
I've heard people talk about it. They said that it has the most intense flavor. It's the best thing. You got to try it. I tried it, and
Only once, huh?
yeah, it was another one of those where the chef is coming out of the kitchen and looking at me and like
You see that foreigner order
this guy is taking pictures, making notes, and he's curling his nose up at my stink beans.
Wow. Okay.
So what goes into these stink beans? Are they actually? They're actually called stink beans.
They I don't know what the Thai name of it is, but it basically translates steak beans. It's and it was funny. I was staying at this hotel in Phuket, and the all of the maids that worked at the entire hotel were like basically standing on my guardrail next to the pool. Like I had a private pool at this place, and they were all had this stick, and they were trying to knock these stink beans down because they wanted them to cook them. And so it's a bean probably about 2 feet long. And we have a tree here called a mimosa tree, and they make these beans about this big, and it's similar to that, but they're like 2 feet long, and the beans end up being probably about the size of a quarter. And oh gosh,
Wow.
that's all I can say.
So you do not recommend trying that. It's called Raya.
No, Raya,
It's
the
the
restaurant.
name of the restaurant. Raya is where they serve
Raya
the
was
stinky
the name
bean.
of the well, no, you can get stink beans everywhere. It's just I decided to
Man,
try
I
them
did
there.
not see that over there, but I'll
It's-
take your word for it. I think that one I'll try to leave for you there, my friend.
Well, anytime the wait staff looks at you and says, "Are you sure?" Mm-hmm. Maybe you should kind of rethink that choice.
That's actually probably a good suggestion. I know we're kind of running down a little bit on time. Anything else memorable from your travels there, Chad, that you want to share with our audience here?
Oh, well, I'd say that, out of this trip, the most recent trip, and probably everything I got planned for the rest of the year, I'd say that Burma, Myanmar, however we want to call it right now, is one of those countries that if you want to see a country that's still genuine, that hasn't had any outside influence in the last 50 years, that's the place to go right now. It's
Really?
a place where I was able to walk around, and I'm a novelty. I was walking down a market, and everybody was stopping to look at me. Like, what's this guy doing here? It had nothing to do with the ridiculously huge camera that I carry, on a tripod or anything like that.
Or the
But-
American flag that you had thrown over your
that
shoulders?
I drape over me, yeah. But there is an area in Burma called Bagan, and over a 60 kilometer area, there's 3,000 pagodas that are almost 1,500 years old, and it was. Out of everything I've seen, I think that's probably the most amazing sight. And I've been to Egypt. I've been to, Siam Reap, Cambodia. It was just incredible.
Yeah, so that's not exactly one of the places you think of when you go think about vacation, right? You think of the very like typical, like if it's Southeast Asian, it's going to be like maybe Vietnam or Thailand. But when you think about like that, I never even thought about it. But that's actually a great little point there.
Well, the thing about it is a country that has been closed off until 2 years ago. It's just
Interesting.
now open for tourism.
Awesome.
The infrastructure is not there for the tourism yet, but it was pretty awesome.
Okay, awesome. So Chad is going to stay on with us. So for our next segment, I'm going to just talk a little bit about. So we usually end the show with one of my stories, but I think it's going to be a little bit different this time because I want to talk a little bit about my tenure in Korea working there because the work-life culture there is very interesting. So we'll go on to our next break and we'll hear a little about that next.
Over 4 months ago, Dallas Korea Network began something that had never been done before, believing in giving the second-generation Asian Americans a platform to voice their thoughts and opinions, while also creating their own entertainment. Next Gen Connections was birthed, and its first show, Fresh Off the Pod, aired in late October 2014. Beginning the first week of March, Next Gen Connections will begin airing 4 shows targeting Asian Americans. Fresh Off the Pod, The Minority League, K-Pop Hour, and Next Gen Talk looks to bring a variety of topics to the Asian American community in the DFW area. DKNet and Next Gen Connections ask for your support as we strive to do something that has never been done before. For more information on shows and Next Gen Connections, go to www.nextgenconnections.org. Thank you for your support.
Hey, welcome back, and thank you, Chad, for all those suggestions and the things that not to kind of maybe avoid the stinky beans over in Thailand. So I think in my experience, I was just thinking about when I was living in Korea and stuff, what kind of the more crazier things I've eaten. Like in Korea, like one of the things they eat is live octopus, and I think a lot of people have heard of that. And they've seen videos of it. And actually eating that, I mean, have you ever had that, Chad, the live octopus?
I have not. I'm going to Korea in October, and
before you go, let me know. I have a lot of great suggestions for you before you head out.
See, my only little intro to that is the scene from Old Boy where it's kind of like sitting there stuck to his face.
So that's pretty much how my experience was as well. I mean, Daryl, have you got a chance to eat that?
No, I haven't.
Yeah, so it's an interesting experience because I have trouble with like live food anyway. When your food's alive, it's and moving, and when when it fights you, when you're trying to like chew on it, because like they warn you, they're like, because I told them it was my first time eating it. They asked the lady that owns the restaurant, found it very humorous, and when I was trying to eat it because I had a hard time. You have a hard time just grabbing it with your chopsticks because it's moving around on your plate. And then like she's like warning me. She's like, make sure you chew it because it's gonna get stuck. And when you're chewing it, it's like sticking to your teeth and inside your mouth. And so it's an interesting experience. I'm glad I did it. The flavor wise, it actually was pretty good. But the problem was it's like you have to get over the fact that it's fighting you in your head, and getting over that was the tough part. So if you get the opportunity, a lot of places sell that. Even the outdoor like little stalls, they sell the live octopus, and you just eat that outside with some soju. It's actually a pretty cool experience there.
Trust me, I'm not gonna miss it. It's on the list.
Awesome, man. Typically we talk about a story from my past on here that's sometimes funny or whatnot, but this time around I thought this might be kind of relevant because, as we've mentioned several times before, I just moved back from Korea for working for I guess I could say it, but working for Samsung is a 2-year contract there doing marketing work. And working there and living there are two different things. I've always told people that if you live there, Korea's a great place if you have a lot of money and you want to retire. It's fantastic. The lifestyle there, if you have some money, it's the best in the world. Experiencing all the other places, Korea was by far the most fun. The food was great. Just the atmosphere, the culture was awesome. But when you talk about working there, I don't think I understood. Being Korean, I mean, Daryl, you probably know this too. You understand, and you actually work for a Korean company now, so you probably know it more than anyone. But I was prepared. I thought I was prepared for how a Korean company worked, because people warn you. Your dad or your parents are like, it's going to be. There's not really much work-life balance. It's a lot of work. They're really hard on you, and I didn't. I thought I knew what I was getting into, but it was completely different than what I was expecting as well. When you talk about work-life balance in Korea, it's not there. I mean, and if you complain about it, you're viewed very unfavorably. So, but when you're Korean, you're kind of used to that lifestyle. So when you're growing up, you rarely saw your father, right? Because he was working, or your parents, because they were working all the time. We mentioned before that I was a latchkey kid because I was home by myself a lot when I was younger, because both my parents were working. In Korea, it's still a very male. Their hierarchy system is still very much male dominated, in terms of like the father is the breadwinner and the mother stays home and takes care of the kids. It's still like that in a lot of the families, a majority of the families in Korea, and they're used to it. Like when they were growing up, they didn't see their father until maybe like on a Saturday evening or Sundays. And so when they go into the workforce, it's just kind of a known thing. So it's not even out of the norm. Here, if you're not home for dinner, people are like crying foul. They're like, oh my God, it's so unfair, But over there, that's just normal. And so like even on our team outings, like our heshiks, right? We call them, they're mandatory. And it's at a drop of a hat. So, before, like, you're thinking, I'm going to be off early. It's 8 p.m. I'm going to get to go home. And then they're like, we're going to go out. And they're like, okay. So they're like, drop your plans. We're going. And so you're like, oh, okay. So you're calling all your friends and everything like that, trying to rearrange plans. So it's definitely one of the more work centric. And it's a lot of how you're viewed. Even when your work is done. So I'll tell you a couple of things. When you're there, even when you're done with your work, you can't leave. That was the oddest thing for me. For them, it was more about how long you're at work than how productive that you were at work. It was hard for me to adjust to that, because in the very beginning, I would like work really hard, like, okay, I'm all done. I'm ready to leave around 5, 6 o'clock when I normally would leave in America. But there, it's like, okay, you're all done. Here's another work for you to do then. And so you're like, oh, okay. And so you're like, so you have a little bit more work. And so they give you more work until it's like almost midnight. And so my coworkers were telling me, that younger, they're like, you got to kind of pace yourself. And some people I'll see, like, they'll just be staring there, just like looking like they're typing when they're not doing anything. And it's so odd, because a lot of people it'll be more of the how people view you. So like being viewed favorably is really high up there. So it's so you kind of be like, the longer you're there, the more favorably you're viewed. So a lot of times, even if I'm done at 5 or 6, I'll be there working and trying to find other projects until like 9, 10, or 11, because of the fact that you don't want to leave before your manager does. And that goes all the way up. And my VP slept there most of the times. So if you know what that means my director isn't going to leave, and that means I'm not going to be leaving. So it ends up being very long hours every day, and then long team outings there as well. So when you say work-life balance there, it's non-existent. And like a lot of the coworkers I had were very young, and they had families. So I mean, like I'll give you an example. One of the guys I worked with named Josh, he was Korean, but like he just had a baby. And typically when you have a baby, you stay home for like a week or two, and you bond with the baby. But he missed the baby's birth because they sent him on a month-long business trip right before the baby was going to be born, because they needed something to do in the States. And so he missed the birth, and they just he was wherever the business needed. And when he came back, they sent him away again after 2 weeks.
Oh my God!
So that's just a small example of how what they view when it comes to work-life balance. So definitely definitely something to get used to, and especially if you're a Korean American. So that company was really going for Korean Americans because me, I look very Korean. I have a Korean name. I don't have an English name, and so me going there, I had to explain to them that as much as I look Korean, I'm very American inside. But they even with that, if you look Korean, they think you should work Korean hours. So it was an interesting experience because the way that I was grown up, it was more about getting home to your family. Luckily, I mean, I didn't have a family, but I had friends that came from America that were Korean Americans that had families, and they did not see them until the weekends, and it became a very big issue for that. And for the people who are thinking about going to Korea to work, that's something that you really need to think about is the amount of hours that you are expected to work and the amount of drinking you're expected to do. And then over there, the thing about drinking is that they see it as a good way to break the ice. So definitely something to really think about. And going there, I mean, if you're an American, if you're not Korean, it's actually a lot easier for you because they'll say it in Korean now. You hear it all the time. They're like, oh, when they leave around 6 or 7, they're just like, oh, it's because you're Americans. Okay, no one says anything. But if you're Korean, it's definitely a different story. So a little bit of the back end story of working in Korea. Not a funny story, I guess, but a little bit more informative this time around. So that is the show. Daryl, Chad, thank you for upgrading from Ben here. So I appreciate you guys being on. And we're going to leave you with one of my first Korean songs I've ever heard was SES, I'm Your Girl.